All right, Mr. Kyle, I made a whoops. So when I was doing speedball, I was kind of forgetting what speedball was, and so yeah, that was a bit of a disaster. So I'm gonna do speedball again. Um, so speedball is the combination of um, basketball and soccer and I can't remember, but it's a combination of those ones. You make some tips. You can make some passes between your teammates and always be moving around. And you need to aim for the corners when shooting and communicate with your teammates. So that is key. So speedball skills are dribbling. You need to be able to dribble the ball. Throwing. You need to be able to throw the balls accurately between your teammates and into the goal, and your kick-ups. So you cannot kick the ball up to yourself. You can kick the ball up to your teammates. So make sure you're able to do little chip shots to kick it up to your teammates. And so the rules are: the game starts as soccer. If the ball is caught by a teammate or another one of your or a teammate or the opponent, then the ball is it turns into basketball, and you can dribble the ball and move around. If the ball is dropped by anybody, it's the other team's ball, and it becomes soccer. You're allowed 3 steps when it's basketball. So yeah. Then I'm gonna go back to where I was on chook ball. So chook ball is the one with the little trampoline things, and I said that earlier. That was part of speedball, but it is not. And so some tips for chook balls: to concentrate, focus on the ball. It's a fly. It is hard. Make sure you're shooting the ball at an angle, because if after you hit the net and the ball is caught by the opponent, it doesn't count. Your point doesn't count. So if you shoot the ball on an angle, then the ball will bounce off the trampoline on an angle, and it's harder for them to catch. Make sure you're communicating with your teammates and passing the ball around, and take shots from closer to the crease so you have a better chance at hitting the center of the trampoline. So some skills: need to be accurate throwing when you're throwing it at the net. Know when to dribble instead of pass, and knowing when to do a long pass or a short pass, and being able to pass the ball to your teammates accurately. The rules: the ball can be thrown at either one of the nets, so that's also a tip. Make sure to use both nets. Do not step into the crease. There's some cones set up. Can't go in the crease. You can only hold the ball for 3 seconds, so be prompt. Curling. Now let me tell you, I am a curling legend from my days back there in Saltcoats. But yeah, let us give you some tips for curling. When you're throwing, make sure, if you're indecisive about your weight, make sure to throw a little lighter than a little too heavy, because if you throw too heavy, it'll go out the back. If you throw too light, it could still end up being a useful guard. Sweep consistent, and make sure you're sweeping in front of where the rock is. Don't get lost in sweeping where the rock isn't even going. And listen to the skip, because the skip is the most knowledgeable, and he has the view from the end and knows when to sweep and when not to sweep. So some skills: you're sweeping, so make sure you're sweeping in front of the rock. Make sure you're sliding on the ice. Remember to know where to aim and how to and where to throw, and to do the right turn. There's an in turn and an out turn, which makes the rock curl different ways, and make sure to try and curl the rock into the house. Curling rules: so for the scorekeeping at the end, after all the rocks have been thrown, the team with the closest rock to the center of the house, which is the ring where you're trying to shoot your curling rocks into, gets a point. If the next closest rock belongs to the team with the closest rock, they get two 2 points, and so on until there's an opponent's rock that is closer than their rock. Some other rules is the rock has to pass the far hog line in order for it to actually count, and to stay in play. There are 2 teams, and there's 4 players per team. There's a skip, the first, second, and a third. And lastly, we have the Sepak Takraw. Make sure, and this is a game where you can kick the ball, and you can hit the ball with your belly if you're Graham Buckle. You can use your head, and it's like badminton. You have to try and get the ball over the net thing. And so, some tips for Sepak Takraw. Keep your eyes on the ball. Anticipate where the ball is going to be kicked from or hit from the opponents. And be on your toes so you can adapt quickly to where the ball goes to. Some skills. There's a bunch of different kicks. There is the inside kick, which is you kick it with the inside of your foot. The outside kick, when you kick kind of sideways and you kick it with the outside of your foot. There's a toe kick, which is just off the top of your foot. There's a knee hit, which is obviously bouncing it off your knee. The header is off your head, and the bicycle is when you flop on your back and kick it, an overhead kick. So some rules: the ball must go over the net. There's 2. You can hit the ball twice per person. The ball can bounce off the ground once before it's considered dead. If it hits the ground twice before one of your teammates hits it again, then you lose the point. You cannot use your hands, and there are 2 teams. These flies, I tell you what, in the middle of the wintertime, these little things, they get in our bread and all that stuff. All right, so now we're going to do some fitness testing. So, some tips for fitness testing. We are, when you're doing the 12-minute run, make sure you pace yourself so you're the most efficient. Make sure you stretch before all aspects of your fitness testing, especially the 12-minute run and your flexibility test. And don't run too fast at the start of the beep test, because then you'll be done. You won't be able to finish, and the longer you can go, the better. Some skills. Breathing while doing the plank. Make sure you breathe and you don't try and hold your breath, because then you'll get out of breath and your lungs will start to hurt. And breathing keeps the blood flowing, which is what you need. When you're doing the vertical test, make sure you get low and explode out using your quads and your leg muscles, your calves, your hams, and your glutes, and your other butt muscles, to make sure you're getting real high. Let me just read up my notes here real quick. Make sure you keep good form when doing your push-ups, and when doing the plank, you need to keep your back flat. So, yeah, don't have your butt up in the air. Because a plank is called a plank for a reason, Mr. Kyle, because you have to look like a plank of wood or steel. So fitness testing benefits. Benefits of participation. This is really good, because it's really good exercise, Mr. Kyle, which is actually why I took your classes, because I wanted to get my daily exercise. Learning your strengths and weaknesses. You know what you're good at, what you're not good at, and what you need to work on. I need to work on my flexibility, for sure. And you can set goals for your fitness, which also helps in life, because you need to set goals in life. Yoga. Unwinding with Melissa was probably my favorite thing ever. And you probably think I'm being sarcastic, Mr. Kyle, but I actually enjoyed it, because I don't know, it was quite relaxing. It was a little hot in there, a little bit gross, but at the end of the day, you know what? It was really good for me. Always be relaxing and give it an honest shot for tips for yoga. If you go in there thinking it's a big hoax and it's not going to work, it's probably not going to work for you. Don't compare yourselves to others while doing it. Just be focused on your inner self and completely relax. Some yoga skills, breathing, so it helps the blood flow, um, good posture, and make sure that you're doing exactly what the instructor is doing, and don't get distracted when someone farts or something, because that happened one time. Benefits is your mind gets cleared. It's good for your muscles. You can stretch, um, and it builds strength, and it builds the connection between mind and body. Okay, Mr. Kyle, I think that wraps it up. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there. If I need to do the thing later, the running beeper thing, I'll do it. We'll make a plan later. Thank you very much, Mr. Kyle, and you can thank me for making your period 6 so wonderful for the first semester, and I will see you later.